The problem is simple. One job post, 1,500 applications in a couple of minutes. Most of them are irrelevant, AI generating, or missing the basic skills for the role. Our solution? And today I'm going to walk you through this complete system, a complete demo of how this system works, and then a detailed overview of how this works under the hood. So let's get started. Our solution is AI screening, AI technical interviewing, so your real HR employees can only focus on real candidates. And the results? A position that got around 1,500 resumes that was translated into 35 qualified real candidates. And this system takes care of everything: screening, scheduling, and scoring the candidates with AI. So the recruiters can only spend their precious time with real qualified candidates. So let's get into it. Here's the dashboard panel where we can see all our open postulations. So here is a software engineer position at Google. Here we have the required skills and the questions required for the technical interview. Let's see the candidates and how this is looking. Okay, here we have the whole pipeline of the screening workflow. First of all, so as soon as the candidates upload the resume, the system digests all the information and translates it into candidates in this pipeline. First of all, the first part of process is the screening process. This is the first light filter, and here we're going to qualify them and make sure they have the required skills for the job. Here I'm getting the call.
Time to discuss about your application at Google.
Yes, I have time to do the interview.
Let's do some quick screening questions. Do you have experience with Node and React Native?
Yes, for sure. I have experience with both of them.
That's great to hear. Can you tell me why you're looking to change your current job?
Yes, for sure. My current contract is about to end, so that's why I'm looking for new opportunities.
Got it. Thanks for sharing. What motivates you to pursue this particular position?
I love working on impactful projects. That's why working in Google sounds great.
Perfect, it seems. You are a great fit for this position.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Let's schedule a meeting with one of our agents to move forward. Could you share your email address?
Yeah, thomas@gmail.com.
Got it. Thank you, Thomas. Now, when would be a good date and time for you to schedule the meeting?
Let's do Wednesday, September 31, 2025.
Just to confirm, Thomas, you'd like the meeting on Wednesday, September 31st, 2025. Let me double check the date for accuracy.
Okay.
Could you clarify? Thank you for taking the time to chat today.
My pleasure. Bye-bye. Okay, September 31. Okay, so here the candidates reach the technical interview step. As we see, we can see the time remaining for the next interview. If that time runs up, the interview will be triggered automatically. But we don't have 8 hours to wait, so let's trigger it manually right now. I'm getting the call again.
Hello, Tomas. Do you have some time to discuss about your application at Boss Job Company?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's start the technical interview. Please listen carefully to each question.
Okay, sounds great.
This is the first question. Listen carefully, please. Is React Native a programming language?
Option 2.
Answer?
Option 2, false.
Thank you for your response. You answered option 2 and 4. Just to clarify, are you selecting option 2, which is?
Yes, option 2, false.
Yes, that is correct. Well done. Are you ready for the next one?
I'm ready for the next one.
Please hold on while I save it. Save. Let's continue.
Of course.
Okay, the second one goes like this. Is HTTPS more secure than HTTP? Option 1, true. Option 2, false. What's your answer?
Option 1, true.
That is correct. Way to go. That was all. For today, do you want to go to the final phase?
Yeah, for sure.
Please hold on. I'm saving the question.
Nice.
All right, it's saved successfully. Let's wrap up the interview. Got it. Do you want to get the answer?
Please.
Congratulations on passing the interview. When would be a good date and time for your final meeting? Best of luck in this last step of the process.
Thank you very much. And maybe Thursday, October. This is just irrelevant right now. But yeah, this is how our human employees, they are only getting in touch with the candidates that approve the first screening and also this AI technical interview. That's a quick overview of how this system works. Now, our selected agent has already a meeting booked with Thomas for the Google software engineer position. That is how my agency solved a bottleneck for a recruiting agency that was having a lot of issue with a humongous amount of candidates for each postulation. So let's dig a bit deeper and see how this works under the hood. First of all, the first thing that happens is that we are creating the screening. And to do this, we have a workflow set up in Vapi, and we need to send all these custom variables to that workflow. The candidate name, candidate ID, job position, and relevant skills. As soon as we create a call, so the candidate actually take the call in their phone, we update the candidate and we update that he's currently in progress in the screening. Also, save the call ID. This is going to be very important later. So we are going to save the current call ID that we create for that customer. Then, if they actually have the required skills for the first screening, we're going to schedule the technical interview. And how we're going to match those? Vapi is going to send a request to our backend, and that request will have a call ID. But how we match that request and our candidate? Because we have set the call ID as soon as the call was created. We're going to fetch the candidate based on the call ID of the current call ID that is taking in place right now. And we're going to create an interview for them. It's going to be scheduled and it's going to have the time and date that the customer decided. This is a very important thing to have in count. Every time that we are receiving webhooks from Vapi, we have to set up the ex-Vapi security header, so we can make sure that the author of the request that we're getting in our backend is actually Vapi and not a harmful attacker or a malicious origin. The next step is when we trigger the actual technical interview. And here we're going to have a couple of extra stuff, because we're not only going to take care of the candidate, but also the postulation and the custom data of the postulation. Here we're going to trigger the Vapi workflow ID, another workflow, the technical workflow, the one I showed in the second call, another workflow, more longer workflow that takes care of the technical interview. And we're not only going to send the candidate name and the company, but also the questions and the answers to the AI recruiter. Here we are doing the same thing. We are triggering the call, and again, we're triggering the call, setting the call in the interview. This is what I was showing while I was in the second call. This is the interview. Here are the questions, the answers, and how this got populated as the candidate was going through the call. Very simple. Don't rush. We're going to get there in a moment. So we created the interview. We set the call ID, the Vapi call ID in our interview record in our internal database. And we update the candidate because now the candidate is going to be in another column of the dashboard, in the in progress of the technical interview. Great. So in this point, the customer is starting the technical interview. And what happens? It's going to start getting the questions and answering them. Each time we answer a question to the AI recruiter, the AI technical interviewer, we have a tool, a webhook set up in Vapi. So Vapi is going to send us a request each time we answer that question. We're repeating the process here. We're getting the call ID that we receive in the Vapi request. You're getting the interview because the interview has that call ID set in the DB, and we're going to start populating the interview. That's why we start seeing the questions and the answers. As we see here, we have option 2 false, option 1 true, and that is the answer of each question. So here, each time we answer a question, we populate that fields, but also, depending if they are correct or incorrect, we're going to start adding this counter, this correct answers counter. And that's going to help us in the next step, because once all the questions have finished, we get to the interview results. Here again, we are doing all our security measures taken care of, getting the call ID of the request, getting the interview. We now can set the interview as completed, and in this case, this is a simplified version of the system that we created for our client, of course, but we can create our own logic of what approved interviews means to us. In this case, let's say that all the answers must be correct. So if that condition is true, we're going to set the interview was approved. If the interview was approved, this is the second technical interviewer workflow. But if the interview was approved, here we are going to set the final meeting date, book it in the candidates and our recruiter calendar, and that's it. That's how we end the flow. And as I said, this is a simplified version of the actual system. But what I'm trying to say here is that, yeah, we have all these tools to make voice agents, and a lot of agencies or freelancers are selling and setting up these agents. The way to add value to this equation is to really create system on top of them, as this example. Here we are seeing all the webhooks that Papi is sending us to us. Here we have our API that receives all the webhooks, and it's also 24/7 listening all the scheduled interviews to be able to trigger them on time. And if you want something like this, please feel free to drop a comment below or reach out to us. We specialize on building these kind of solutions. If you get to this point, thanks a lot for seeing the video. We're going to start creating a lot of videos on how to create systems around an agency so you guys can have your agency technical setup. Being that said, thanks for watching the video. See you in the next one.